Channel 12. Right about this time of the year, some people have a hobby, and a gentleman we know is Robert Towie, better known to us as Bob Towie of Castleford, west of Pryor. Since he has retired, he has been able to bring back memories of his Florida vacations in Seashells.
This is a pig my daughter bought me for my birthday, so I thought it looked kind of drowsy, so I decorated it all up. I put false teeth in it, and the tail that got broke off on here, so it's supposed to be there. So that was a birthday present. That's one of them. This is another birthday present, but I didn't know it was pottery. So I put all this junk on it here. I thought it looked drowsy, and the glasses on it. And she said, "My God, what'd you do?" She said, "That's pottery." But I thought it needed a little decoration, so I put it on it. Another pig. You decorated a little birthday present. And this was another one. So that's a pig family here. And this is what you call a good honk shell. If you're picking shells in Florida, that's when you get a good shell. A honk. Honk shell, yeah.
I understand you've been retired for 74 years, Bob.
Well, I haven't been retired
but you are
that long.
74 years
I was
old.
born 70.
74 years ago, that's more like it.
Yeah, that's right.
And you've been retired for how many years?
About 15.
Yeah, and where did you work before?
I worked pretty well all over Canada, pretty well.
Yeah.
I worked at I was on the Alaska Highway, and I was in Newfoundland and all over.
Doing what?
Working on road work. In Ottawa, we built the Queensway. I built that Queensway you got all the troubles with now.
With all
They want to get more lanes, and they can't. And I was there when we put 4 lanes, and they figured it was the finish. And I was in Toronto when we put the 2 lanes through. That was quite a few years ago through Toronto. They're the first 2 lanes. And the traffic was solved, and they're still chewing the rag and no place to go. The traffic is there for miles.
Well, your life was quite interesting.
Oh, yeah, I've been around a lot.
You retired.
Yeah.
I can see you hardly find yourself artistic in your galleries, but they are quite artistic.
Well,
Robert.
Once you get at them, there's not much to it. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
It's getting the shells. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to.
Well, you brought most of them back on your.
Well, when you're holidaying, but you got to get up, and get them and pick them and all that. It's quite a job.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy them if you got money enough, These are cats here, both of them. Another one. These are the little owls. Another little, just something to make out of shell. And this is the goose. There's an owl. There's another cat. And these are a bunch of little dogs made out of pine burrs. All them, and that's another little rig made out of decorated with shells. Here's a little dish here that's the color that's in it that's very nice.
Why did you start to collect shells, Robert? You seem to know the right and the left side of each shell.
Well, once you start picking them, you learn which one, the right and the left thing. But till you learn that, get them all for one side, and you got nothing for the other side. When I was in Florida, I went out every morning early and pick shells. Mm-hmm. And the same with all these. You've got to get up early to get the good shells, but it's quite a problem. After you do get them, that you've got good ones.
I suppose you need patience for this kind of imagination to put together such a hobby and talent as this.
Yeah, like that, you've got to have a patience for to make it. It's quite a thing. It takes a while.
Has many a winter months been put on this hobby?
Oh, yes. I worked this last 4 or 5 winters making stuff every year. A little bit now, a little bit again. Hours in the winter time.
Would you consider selling any of your work?
No, I don't sell any of them. Unless I have to. I haven't got to yet, then. So I don't need to sell any.
What do you consider yourself as an artist?
No. I just plain fool around till I make something, that's all.
I'll go with him. I understand you use little landscapes inspired by everyday life, such as going fishing with the boys or improving your golf game. Have you any shells made up into this?
Oh, yes, I got a lot over here, right?
Would you like to start at the top shelf, Bob?
Yeah, these are just everything all mixed together here. Pelicans and owls and everything all together. And this is a golf course here. There's the golfers here, and there's the ball, putting it in here and all that. And this is the fishermen down in here. They're all out fishing in the Ottawa River.
Have you ever given any of them any names and any fishermen you know on the Ottawa River?
No, I haven't named too many of them, but there's a lot of healthy guys. That's Bruce, and that's my son there, and that's Willis Runts, and that's George Lavoie in there. Lots of fishing, but they never catch so much, you know.
No
And,
big muskie?
No, they never got any muskie. And this is just everything down in here all together. Ducks and wheelbarn and rabbit and all the same.
I see some white elephants.
Well, there's only one white elephant, eh?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sea, isn't that what they say? So I got, that's the white elephant, and there's the family of elephants here.
And poodles.
Well, then poodles goes with the, just along to help the elephant along. And this is just cleaning up after the elephants. You know, there's a lot of little junk lying around after them, eh?
Yeah.
And these are just stuff that you make out of shells. But this shell over here now, our mailman here, or milkman, he comes regular, and he went to Florida last winter, and he priced that one, and it was $12.
This one right there?
From Renfrew, yeah.
This one alone, it was
This
$12.
last winter,
Oh,
our
my.
milkman. And
That'd be expensive.
yeah, it would be expensive. We have to buy them.
What are you going to do when you run out of seashells?
Oh, I've got enough for to do me a long time yet. Oh, yeah.
Robert, how do you compare the shells in Florida compared to the shells you might find in the Ottawa River here?
Oh, nothing. You don't get nothing here in this.
Nothing, eh?
No, nothing any good.
Where did the shells come from here? They're just like clams, I guess, eh?
They're clamshell. They're not a shell like you do get in Florida.
You couldn't decorate with them?
No,
Oh.
impossible. The muskrats are gathering them now. If you watch in the dock, they're
Is
putting
that
them in the
right?
dock down for the winter.
Oh,
And they eat them there all winter. And they keep the hole in the ice open. And they bring all every shell they eat in the winter, they bring it to the top. And in the spring you go down in the dock and you'll maybe get a couple of pails of just the shells. That every shell they eat, they bring it and put it in the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll do that all winter.
Could you demonstrate some of your work that you do, and how much money would you spend on glue?
Oh, it all depends on how much stuff you make.
How much do you figure you have spent now?
Oh, maybe $100 or something.
That's a lot of money when you're retired.
Yeah, it is, but
Yeah, it's a
well,
hobby.
if you want to make shells, you have to get it some way.
Mm-hmm. So, could you demonstrate some of your work for us now?
Well, I've got it's up in the other end there, everything I
Okay.
do. If you want to
All right.
move out there, we can show you how you make stuff.
Okay. Could you explain some of these things, Bob, you have on the table here, and what you might be going to
Well, this is a
demonstrate?
hawk here. To make them, you've got to have a right and a left here, one on each side, and move them on like that one. And there's the two eyes that you put in this for his eyes up here. One on that side. Then you got to pick feet out for them, the same as on that one that they sit on here. And you keep on till you make them. That's about all there is to it. But you got to have the right shell, the 2 feet, right and left. These right and left, and then you got to have this. Don't matter. It don't need to be right and left. Any shell will work in there. But these here, you got to have a right and a left for up here. Everything is.
Can you show me a right and left shell there?
Yeah. Here's one here. There's a good shell there, but that's a right and a left.
Oh, that's one.
And when you get them, when you pick them, if you want to do like I'm doing, put them together And if you pick a lot of them, then sometimes you can carry one with you, and you maybe get 10 of them today for this side, and then tomorrow you'll pick these and put them together, and then you got a lot of shells like what I have. I picked a lot of shells. And then you put them all together and glue them together like that with some tape. And then when you're making them, all you have to do is, or you can glue them together like that, and then you have them all ready. If you want to make more, they're all ready to put
What
on.
would you make out of this type of shell?
That's an eye.
That's an eye.
Yeah. Well, there's all different types of stuff in this, eh? There's everything.
What would you use for a foot?
Well, I don't know. It'll take a while maybe to look one up.
It's like this, eh?
Oh,
What
yeah,
type
like
for
that.
a foot?
That's a foot there. Them's the feet for them. You got to have a right and a left.
Yeah.
And this is a different shell for this is a different one. Body here for to make this owl. This is a different shell from that one.
Oh, yes, yes. And
And the eyes, and then you get these little ones too when you're picking them. Still, you got to, they're pretty well right and the left too if you want to get them. So it takes a while before you know what you're picking and before you got good
a lot
shells.
of sorting out, too.
A lot of sorting out, yeah.
And is this the gun that you use?
Yeah,
to glue?
this is the glue gun. You glue it all together with glue.
Mm-hmm. And what is all this, just for decoration?
That's all decorations if you want to make little stuff out of it. You can buy a lot of this stuff here now in Renfrew, where you couldn't one time, but now,
Craft shop, yeah.
yeah, this is all different colors. If you want to color them, you can buy that here in Renfrew. I think that's about all there is to. Oh, that's the shell here now in Castleford, eh? That's the right and the left. Now that's, see?
Mm-hmm. Where you're retired here at Castleford, Robert, you have nice scenery. I understand where you pick these shells. Maybe you could show us where that is.
Oh, yeah, no
If you
trouble.
have a minute.
Now there's the right and the left. Now them are picked here, right here at Castleford off the dock. And here's a right and a left of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they bring them up in the winter when the muskrats eat them. They leave a hole all winter in the ice, and they bring them shells when they eat the live thing out of them. They bring them up to the surface, and I picked about a pail of them all together like that. And that's the way they eat them, bring the shells to the top.
Mm-hmm. So I suppose when you run out of these shells, you think you go back to Florida?
I don't know if I can get someone to pay me away, I maybe go. You know, we could make enough shells if they want to sell them. You know, you no trouble selling them in Florida. So you go down there and you buy them and bring them back here. Hey, I showed you the one there
Yes, yeah.
that's worth $12, so you do no
Quite
trouble.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, so you do no trouble, you know, if somebody who's got the money, I wouldn't mind going down for
So your
a couple of
galleries,
weeks. And,
your galleries would be worth a lot of money now when you think of it. If you pay $12 for a shell like that one.
oh, yeah, now they are, hey.
Yeah.
But I'm not selling any right now,
Mm-hmm.
the present time.
Keep them.
And
for
I've
the
got a lot of shells yet. I can make a lot of stuff yet.
Yeah, you keep them. What's this down here now?
Oh, that's just something made out of stuff for the all different things, squirrels and all that. And this is a little vine there, a plant that goes in behind it here. And this is now here, and there's a pelican drinking out of a little fountain.
Oh, that's very cute.
Yeah, when you get a good live shell, you get good color in it.
Yes.
If you get an old shell that's old, well, you don't get the right color in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to get up early in the morning to get the good shell.
Your wife
Florida.
must like that one with the flower in behind.
Oh, yeah, well, that's
You
her.
made that one.
She keeps it watered.
Yeah.
See, the live flowers. It's been maybe 2 years in there.
What kind of tree is this, Robert?
That's this part is a hot tree, and these are all the thorns on it, and these are little berries you pick. And they weren't painted. I painted them all and made just a little outfit up to make it look good. Here's a couple little ducks sitting on a shell down below here.
And what's in there? Owls?
These?
Inside of the tree. Is that an owls in the tree there?
Oh, these are owls, yeah.
Yeah.
These are all owls sitting in the tree, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a different tree. What is this one then?
That's seaweed here. This here is seaweed. And then after you get the seaweed, you just put them little rigs on it, that's all.
It's pretty.
Glue them on.
There's another pretty one.
Yeah, that's something the same. You make it out of wire and then you put the little
Mm-hmm. Very artistic. This is another centerpiece over there. For
Yeah,
candies,
that's more or less of a kind of a... It's good shells. They're all live shells. And you get something good if you get the real live shell, you get the color in it.
How many different colors have you picked pretty well in shells? I see the browns and...
Oh, there's a lot of different shells, different colors. I have no idea how many would
I
be.
couldn't say how many.
No, I have no idea how many would be.
No.
And this here's just the dogs. And that's the trainer here. She's kind of over looking after the dogs there. And this is just good shells.
Mm-hmm. Another nice candy dish.
Got a candy dish. That's a candy dish.
Yeah.
They put the candy in here, but you can keep it in there. It's quite a job. This is an orchestra here I made up out of shells. This is a piano player here. And these are the orchestra that plays a banjo here, and this is another one here. It's kind of plays an orchestra band, and here's another band leader. And here's another. They're all different, just all made out of shells. And this is an orchestra down here that's singing to the band down in here, and this is like a park all made out of. This is a wishing well, and these are just rabbits threw into it, and this is a little building in the park with a kind of a funny door on, but you need it there. And these are just, these are frogs in here. That's a big frog in here. And these are turtles, all these, and these are two more frogs.
What is this?
That's a starfish.
How do you go about catching them when you're down?
Well, they're funny to catch. You don't just think you can go and pick them up. They got feet underneath here, and when they go out in the water, they go like that. They just go so fast, you got to have a rake to catch them, to pull them in.
You've actually caught fish yourself?
Right?
Have you caught them yourself?
Oh, yes, I caught all.
Compared to Florida, in your retired home here along the Ottawa River and the scenery, how would you compare it to the southern state of Florida?
Oh, I think it's far nicer here. In the summertime, in the wintertime, it's nice to go to Florida to get out of the cold and pick some shells. We got time to pick shells. Mm-hmm. I think it's very good, but I like it here.
You like it here?
Yeah.
So I suppose the spring and the summer and the fall is just beautiful.
Oh, it is. It's the nicest time of the year here.
And then go to Florida in winter?
Yeah, that'd be real nice to do that for. Go down there for about 5 months and pick shells. It's very good. Mm-hmm. And I could really make enough down there by some sellers to pick the shells and make it up, that you could live fairly well on it, I think, in Florida.
Do you think you'd like to retire in Florida?
No, I wouldn't want to retire in Florida. I'd sooner retire here. It's much nicer here than it is in Florida. Very warm down there. And then when you get it cold here in the winter, 50 below or 40 below, and you down picking shells, well, it's very nice to be out picking shells.
Mm-hmm. For Channel 12, I'm Claudette Lockwood. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to Country Report. Did you ever wonder what people do in a small town for entertainment? I mean, in the old days, you pretty well either went to the beach, to the park, or you went to the skating rink. But here in the town of Renfrew, for years, the only show in town was right here at the O'Brien Theater. Like almost every small town in the valley, Renfrew has one main drag and one theater. The O'Brien Theater has been a landmark here since 1930. For years now, people have come through these doors for a night's entertainment and maybe to socialize a bit with the townsfolk. Some things never change, except maybe the price of a ticket or the fare at the candy bar. The O'Brien Theater is probably the most impressive theater that you'll find in the Valley today. It was built by one of Renfrew's most well-known community leaders, M.J. O'Brien, an entrepreneur, businessman, and farmer. He was so successful in his day that his personal income in 1916 was over $1.5 million. His granddaughter, Margaret Ritsaw, still lives in Renfrew, and she remembers her grandfather as a pretty dynamic character.
But he was always trying to think of things he could do for the town that would attract more people here. And in this case, it was to give them good entertainment, which he thought they deserved and they would enjoy having, and that when people considered moving to a town or settling that, it would be another attraction in Renfrew.
Even though the O'Brien family no longer owns the theater, Margaret is still quite proud of the elegance and atmosphere of this theater, even though it's suffered a lot of wear and tear over the years. The quality of the workmanship 54 years ago still stands up today.
Of course, builders in those days, when you got a reputable one like Grandfather would be able to get, really gave good value for their money. He must have got good value for his money to have it still standing in as good shape as this, don't you think?
Going to movie houses like this was so popular back then that the O'Briens established a chain of theaters in 7 valley towns from Deep River to Smiths Falls. In the 30s, this theater ran 3 different movies a week. And even though it was the Depression, there was always a crowd out to see them.
And there were people in this town, many people that we knew at that time, went to the whole 3 movies every single week. Thin Man and Norma Shearer and Ingrid Bergman and Myrna Loy and William Powell and those people. They were all such drawing cards, you couldn't stay away. And they'd have programs, little wee cardboard things that folded up, the whole month's program. People just couldn't wait to get their hands on them to see what was coming next, you know.
For the last 30 years, the projectionist at the O'Brien has been John Rogers. Now, back in the 50s, a good projectionist was hard to keep in a small-town theater. But John says the O'Briens were good people to work for, and he made this theater his life. And he's grown attached to these old projectors over the years.
This projection equipment, like most projection equipment throughout the Ottawa Valley, and as a matter of fact anywhere, they've been installed here back in, I think, 1940. They virtually haven't changed through the years at all. They're a standard. They're an industry standard. They've been a standard since 1895, and they haven't changed. I think in my 30 years here, I made to change a few sprockets and a few little small things that didn't amount to anything, you know.
But John says that some things have changed over the years. For one thing, today's movies just don't compare with some of the ones he loaded up onto the projector when he first started working here.
I have a cassette recorder home, and I often play the 10 Commandments. I always come to that sequence of Moses opening up the sea. It's a fantastic motion picture. We had it in 1956 at the Highway Drive-In Theater for a month. And you know, that picture sold out for a month.
Back then, the price was 75 cents for a regular movie, but the charge for the 10 Commandments was a whopping $1.25. Another thing John's noticed over the years is a change in the audience.
I see younger groups here now. I don't see people my age anymore. 50 years of age, you don't get them here too often. There's a type of pictures come out that now the teenagers like. And the teenagers own this theater. It belongs to them, and they support us, our bread and butter.
Even though there's been a change in the style of movies and the clientele, a few things have remained the same. For one thing, the O'Brien Theater is still the only show in town, and people still think of the lobby as a meeting place. Tim McNamara is the present-day manager of the O'Brien, and he has a lot of respect for this old theater.
Lobby, it's a big lobby for a small-town theater.
Yeah, the O'Brien spent lots of money here. It's the nicest one in the valley. Every other lobby is 4 feet wide, 6 feet long. You come in, you go by the candy bar, and you're into the show. This is the only one they've designed to have an actual meeting place.
Now, here's one thing we will always associate with theaters: graffiti. This graffiti wall in a back corner of the O'Brien Theater has a lot of history on it. The people who worked here over the years have signed their names.
One of our girls that worked here, she came in and all of a sudden discovered her father's name on the wall. And it was a little bit of a touch. She didn't know her father had ever worked here, and he had already passed on. She got a real charge out of working in the same building and in the same environment that her father had. He was at one time an usher, and she came in to be a box office lady.
One thing for sure, in a small-town theater, the people who work here either know you or they know about you. And that's another thing that hasn't changed over the years. But one thing has changed. The movies are a lot racier these days, and if you're young, trying to get into these movies in a small town has its drawbacks.
It comes to a restricted movie, some kid tries to come in. The box office girl knows her brother or knows her son or knows somebody. And right away they say, well, you know you're not 18, you can't come in. There's a lot of that goes on.
Well, people may not be coming to the movies the way they used to, but quite frankly, Scarlett, they don't know what they're missing.
There are some people who aren't content just to watch the movies that play at the O'Brien Theater. You see, there are some who would rather make their own.
Rod, can you come here, please?
Yep.
I'll just get in above you. No, that's where you've got to stop.
Right here on that shadow? Okay.
That's really very funny, Rod.
On weekends and after school, you can usually find Brad Proctor and some of his friends here in the home of Brad's aunt and uncle. And in these moments, this basement becomes a motion picture set. Now, Brad is only 16, but he's already had a hand in the production of almost a dozen movies.
Okay, ready? Action.
Sir?
Brad and his best friend, Rod Etienne, specialize in making horror movies and science fiction flicks. They've shown their work at the Renfrew Library, on the local cable television station, and at a competition for young filmmakers in the United States. They've even formed their own production company. And since they started making films 3 years ago, they've also had a lot of fun.
Gotta get some bags underneath your eyes there.
They already have them there, Brad.